Okay, nothing formal. I'm Pug Palmer. I was on the band from 1961 through about the middle of 61 through the end of 63 when I graduated. A lot of stories that I hope you're collecting, a lot of stories, and I've got some that I probably shouldn't tell, but here's one that I can tell. We played a job in I don't know, somewhere up in northern Alabama, I think, and for some reason our bus was functional, which was not the usual case. And so we were riding, we finished the job and we're coming home, and it was about 4 a.m. and we were going through some little small North Alabama town. I don't even remember what name it was. I wanted to say Prattville, but that's not right because that's in South Alabama. So anyway, it was, like I say, it's about 4 a.m. and Willie Hammett's brother, Kenny, was driving the bus. We got paid extra when we drove the bus. And when the bus was broken, you got paid extra if you drove your car and pulled a trailer. So Kenny was driving, and I was sitting up front and awake for some reason. Kenny looks over at me with his eyes as big as saucers and said, "Pug, we don't have any brakes." And we were on a slight incline going down through the middle of this little country town. And fortunately, there was a little hill on the other side of this going downhill thing in the road, right in the main drag of this little town. So we coasted to the bottom of the hill, and fortunately, as it started up the hill, it kind of stopped. So we were Kenny and I were the only two guys with a real degree on the band at the time. We were engineers, and our lead trumpet player was an architecture major, but everybody else had what I call some other degree, a doodle around degree, maybe even music, which most of them were. Anyway, so we were told, you engineers get out and fix it. Fortunately, we got out, we had flashlights, because it was about 4:30 in the morning by then, I guess. We opened the back of the bus where the engine was, and sure enough, thank goodness, there was an airline that was off. And we had some wrenches, and we put the airline back on, and by goodness, it worked, and we limped back into Auburn. So, but there's been a million stories, and I wouldn't take no amount of money for my experiences on the Auburn Knights, and it's a great organization, and I hope anybody that sees this will contribute to our scholarship fund, and it's a fabulous organization.
Who were some of the? You mentioned a couple of names. Who were some of the other people you
played with? Well, Dave Edwards was on my band, and Dale Quillen, Willie Hammett, and so we had some good groups. At the time, the university did not have a jazz band, the music school, so we were it, and we got just lots of good players. Not that I was one of them, but I was very fortunate to be on the band. Ralph Black was on the band with us, and so we did have some fine players. Bobby Greenhaw was on the band with us, and we had a monster sax section at the time. So, but had a good time. Billy Davis played bass, and myself playing drums. So we had a good time, and it was a lot of good experiences, and helped us grow up a little bit, I guess.
Any particular gigs that stick out in your memory, either for any reason?
I don't know. I think we played. My memory tells me we played something in Pensacola, Florida, one time that before about 1,000 people, and a young lady had a little too much to drink and decided to stand on the tables and take her black dress off. I remember that. I think we were playing probably then as the Dean Hudson Orchestra. Dean was a old 1940s band director. He's in the jazz history books, and he had a band. And so in the 60s, he decided that the Auburn Knights would become his band. So he would often book us as the Dean Hudson Orchestra, and we'd use his fronts and our book. And he would stand in the front of the band and wave his arms like he knew what he was doing. And people thought it was the Dean Hudson Orchestra. But we worked and we got paid.
That's great.
Anyway, but thanks for doing this. This is great.
All right, thank you.
Okay, bud.
All right.
Great.